And they said, go for it. And I've been putting on a turtle conference for 13 years in Phoenix, and this is the first one that I've been deeply involved in.
Were hatched by Danielle Menendez Ordonez of Marquito Reptile in Spain. It appears this breeder has two different bloodlines of albino, both a T positive and a T negative.
My name is Frank Polichico. A lot of familiar faces. Good to see you guys. A lot of new faces. Good to see you guys too. Today, well, actually, first, wanted to say thank you to Nick. Thank you to Russ. Been, I think, extreme Eastern Africa, like Egypt and that whole area. Very widespread. These guys are often underneath the dead camel carcasses and stuff, so you can flip the dead stuff and find these guys. These guys are eating insects. These guys are super widespread throughout Oman, at least, and these guys are not in the sand dunes. So if you're finding Stenodactylus doriae, you are not finding Stenodactylus leptocosmbatus. These guys, as you can tell with this substrate, they're more on the rocky plains, keeping like a 2.1 together, which is pretty weird for geckos, but they do well. The males, they'll do all kinds of cool communication stuff with their tails, and it doesn't seem to go any further than that. They don't seem to fight. I haven't seen any scars where females are grabbing.
A jerk, I could just leave it there, but I'm going to tell you what a genome is. Genome is kind of the total genetic content of a cell or an organism, okay? And so it's all the genes and all the stuff, all the DNA that isn't part of the gene, so non-coding regions and things like that. Ancestral, right? Most other lizards and snakes have soft-shelled eggs. And if you were to plot that onto a tree, the Phylodactylidae, Geckonidae, and Spherodactylidae all have hard-shelled eggs. That trait evolves right here. Once you kind of realize that.
And I took a picture just because I thought a paper towel would look tacky. So, a little bit of hypocrisy there, but I think you can agree that looks better than if they were on a paper towel.
And fortunately, there were plenty of insects to go around. It wasn't like I had to run them off. But I expected the bats, but I did not expect him to set up shop right in front of that black light. But sure enough, he did. Contain more carotenoids, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin E than conventional feeder insects. And we talked about the different methods you can use to compensate for the low levels in base insects. If you have questions on these subjects, there are two papers.
Fairly hard to find in the hobby. Most of the time you go to shows and you would find wild-caught specimens that were sickly, they were just not thriving, and they didn't thrive too well as pets either.
All Europladus are endemic from. It's the fourth largest island in the world. It's about 1,000 miles long and about 250 to 350 miles wide. 85% of the wildlife there is endemic.
So that's my day job, I guess. I'm a research professor that studies how to kill viruses. I founded Australian Diction Reptiles in 1997 and written a few books, including The Complete Knobtail Gecko that was released in 2020. And I'm more like a Tokay dad, I guess, with my 5 kids. My wife and I have, and we live in Smithfield in northern Utah. And with some studies in that area, we can determine things like clutch size, incubation duration, things like that. And then maybe develop techniques for really sexy transillumination. I think is successful with these guys.
And I took a picture just because I thought a paper towel would look tacky. So, a little bit of hypocrisy there, but I think you can agree that looks better than if they were on a paper towel.